Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ted Ellis Field here at Chapmanville Regional High School baseball field. I am Daniel Miller. Alongside with me is Bill Lusk, as this is day two and game four of the entire DAFFER Memorial Tournament here at Chapmanville. Our contest will be between the visitors on the scoreboard, the Point Pleasant Big Blacks, representing Region 4 in Class AA, and also in Region 4, they'll be taking on the home team, the Chapmanville Regional High School Tigers, who are sitting at number 1 in Class AA. Again, Daniel Miller, Bill Lusk beside me. Bill, we got a good game here today between number 1 Chapmanville and Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant has had some history in the regionals when they made it back in 2021. Chapmanville's trying to look to get to the regionals in 2023 this year. So both teams are coming in. What are you looking for between both teams of Point and Chapmanville?
Just looking for Chapmanville to get off to either a quick start. They've got one game under their belt already this afternoon, and that was the completion of the suspended game that between them and Wayne that was suspended last week in the bottom of the third inning. Wayne was leading 6-5 in that contest, and Chapmanville was able to finish it off here this afternoon before the start of the Scott Wayne game. Chapmanville won that one 16-14, and that just keeps the Tigers rolling. So we're looking for them to continue here, get off to a good start. They've got Braylon Moore on the mound. Moore's been phenomenal on the mound for the Tigers in recent games, and he's looking to continue that trend. Meanwhile, if you're Point Pleasant, they had a tough game last night, losing a very close contest to the Scott Skyhawks. So if you're Point, you're just looking to, possibly keep this game as close as you can and get it into the later innings and keep that pressure on the Tigers and come out of here with a win. This is, you mentioned, this is not a bad Point team. They play a tough schedule, just as Chapmanville does, and they're going to look to try to hopefully get those, get that win that they need on their schedule. It would be a signature win for them without a doubt.
Yeah, this would be a big signature win for Point Pleasant, as Chapmanville has already secured some signature wins on the season with wins over number 4 Scott Skyhawks, number 5 Winfield Generals, and then previously number 1 Logan High School Wildcats, and also defeating in Class Single A, they defeated number 5 Man High School Hillbillies, and also defeating in a top 10 team in Class AAA, the St. Albans Red Dragons, who are usually a team that makes it to then Appalachian Power Park, now known as Gomar Park. So Chapmanville has some quality wins on the season, and they're looking to get another one here against a regional foe and stay undefeated in Region 4 matchup and stay undefeated in what was undefeated in Class AA. They suffered an earlier loss to Robert C. Byrd at Roger E. Gertz Field when Ted Ellis Field was unplayable. So they moved the game down to Roger E. Gertz Field, suffered a 7-6 loss to Robert C. Byrd down at Logan, and they're looking to see if they can continue their hot streak. They have won about, I think, Bill, this would be 11 games in a row, and
12 now.
12 now.
With the completion
win over
of the Wayne game. They've now won 12. They haven't lost since losing to St. Albans 8-7 at St. Albans High School back on April the 1st, April Fool's Day, actually. That was their last loss of the season, and they've been doing it with a number of ways, scoring, multiple runs, scored 8 or more runs in some of them contests, winning pitchers' duels, and just coming up with hits in their final at bats to do so, and holding off the opposition in late innings as well. So they're looking to continue the trend, and like I said, Braylon Moore on the mound. We'll look to see how he does it, and how Braylon will be able to go. Hopefully go as deep as he can in this game, as Chapmanville like to save some pitching for Monday's big game, but before so they've got to win this one and stay on the winning edge.
As we're set for Game 4 between Chapmanville and Point Pleasant, as Morris pitches low outside for ball 1. The lineups look like this for Point Pleasant. Leading off for the Big Blacks will be the shortstop, number 9, Zach Jordan, as that pitch is outside, called for ball 2. Batting second will be the center fielder, number 16, Braylon Williamson. Batting third will be the second baseman, number 5, Evan Roach, as that pitch from Jordan is swung on and missed for strike 1. Count goes to 2-1. Batting cleanup will be the catcher, number 11, Hunter Lilly. And batting fifth will be third baseman, number 30, Johnny Porter, as that pitch misses for ball 3. So one more ball, and Jordan will get on with a ball as we're going to continue the lineups here after this pitch from Braylon Moore. And that is hit hard and hit deep. It looks like it's going over the head of the right fielder. Jordan is heading to second. He's still up there, and he's going to hold up at second. So a leadoff double for Zach Jordan to start the game for Point Pleasant. And, Bill, you couldn't have asked for a better start for Point Pleasant against Chapmanville.
Good job by Zach Jordan working the count, running the count to 3-1, getting a pitch that he knew he could get in the zone and drive, and he was able to drive it over the head of Lucas Price out in right field. Not much Price could have done about it. I mean, he started back on the ball as soon as it was hit, but the ball just kept carrying, and the ball has been carrying this afternoon. I've noticed that in all 3 games that have been played here thus far. So if you can get the ball up in this little jet stream, or whatever you want to call it, especially in right field, it's going to carry.
As that pitch is taken low for the center fielder, number 16, Braylon Williamson, for ball 1. Rounding out the Point Pleasant lineup will be right fielder, number 28, batting 7th, Gavin Barnett. The DH, number 3, Carson Finicum, will bat for the pitcher. Number 8, Grayson Tucker, and batting 9th will be the left fielder, Carson Lambert. He wears number 32 as that pitch is in there, called strike for Braylon Williamson. Count goes to 1-1.
You're Williamson, you just want to, battle back here. You've got a 1-1 count, runner on second base. It's not necessarily an alarming thing, but if you can retire this batter without the runner move it over, then you're 1 out. You feel good about getting out of the inning.
Moore looks back at Jordan at second. Pitch is outside up top for ball 2. Count goes to 2-1. And to remind you, me and Bill Lusk will be trading in our broadcast. I will do the first 3 innings. He'll do the next 3, and he'll continue up probably throughout. We'll trade in and out as we're set to bring you Tiger Baseball here in the DAFFER Memorial Tournament at Ted Ellis Field. Moore looking back at second. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Bunt lays down, and this goes foul. Out of play. Count will go even at 2 apiece.
Williamson showed bunt on the 1-1. On the 1-1 pitch, pulled back and took a ball outside. That time 2-1, he was able to get the bunt down, but wasn't able to execute it as the ball was in foul territory. So now we'll see what Point Pleasant elects to do here with Williamson and a 2-2 count. We'll see if Braylon Moore can win the battle of the Braylons here. Moore versus Williamson.
Moore staring at Jordan. Here comes the 2-2 offering. Low. Good block by Brody Dalton. Able to get his glove on it to keep Jordan from moving to third. Count will go full at 3-2.
It's a good job by Williamson to hold up on the swing. Looked like he wanted to offer at that pitch, but he's able to hold back and not go any further.
Here comes the pitch from Moore. Foul tip over the press box. Count will remain at full. And you got to give Williamson credit to keep fighting with Braylon Moore, who is the starting pitcher on the mound. And we'll go over the infield for Chapmanville right now. On the mound is Braylon Moore. Behind the plate at catcher is Brody Dalton. First baseman is Andrew Farley. Second baseman, Eli Surgoin. Shortstop, Talon Thompson. And third base, Luke Knight. As that pitch is fouled off again by Williamson. And now in the outfield from left to right, Joey Canterbury, left field. Center fielder, Trey Butcher. And right fielder is Lucas Price. Jacob Topping will be batting for the Tigers, but he will be the DH spot for Lucas Price. Moore looks back at Jordan again. Here comes the full count pitch, and that is outside, ball 4. And that'll be the first walk given by Braylon Moore, and that'll bring up second baseman, number 5, Moorhead State football commit, Evan Roach.
Good start by the Big Blacks of Point Pleasant. First 2 base runners on, a double and a walk. Now it brings up Roach, number 3 guy. Yeah, you got to think that he's the best hitter in the lineup. Usually those 3 guys, they're the best ones that you want up there to move the runners over, drive in runs, and provide the power ahead of the cleanup hitter, which is typically more of a guy that, might be more of a strikeout guy, but he will also provide you with a big blast.
Evan Roach has the power to do so as he is a 3-year starter. His freshman year, just like every senior in the state, had their freshman year wiped out due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and he takes that pitch for ball 1-0 the count to Evan Roach. Moore looks back at second. Here comes the pitch. Roach hits that down to third base line off of Luke Knight, and it's going to bobble, and every runner will be safe as no outs. Point Pleasant has bases loaded with the cleanup hitter, Hunter Lilly, coming up to the plate for the Big Blacks.
And now they was in perfect position to make that play. And then kind of there at the last second, the ball came up and hit him off the shoulder, and it ricocheted right to shortstop Talon Thompson. But still, I think that's an error. And if you ask Luke Knight, he'll tell you he should make that play. But based on what I saw, he kind of let the ball play him instead of coming in to play the ball.
Moore's pitch is low into the dirt. Good block by Brody Dalton for ball one. And, yeah, Luke Knight is a experienced 3-year starter, 2 years at Scott. In his first year starting at Chapmanville, very well experienced for the Tigers. He could have made the play, but it just took an awkward bounce. And Point Pleasant capitalized on as that pitch is outside up top. Count goes to 2-0 to Hunter Lilly.
It's kind of a similar start to the Wayne and Scott game before this Point Pleasant Chapmanville game. Wayne got the first 7 runners on base in the first inning. They plated 4 runs. There was a couple of walks, couple hit batters, and 3 hits in that inning for the Pioneers to get those 4 runs in. But after that, Scott really kept them off the scoreboard. Scott pitcher Johnson did a good job of settling down, keeping them off the board. Wayne didn't score after that first inning, and Scott was able to come out. Well, they scored in the 7th, and Scott come out with the 8-5 win.
As the last pitch was called strike, this pitch is now called ball. Count goes to 3-1 to Hunter Lilly, and one more ball, and Braylon Moore will have walk. Bases loaded, and Point will take the 1-0 lead over the Chapmanville Tigers. But right now, if you're Hunter Lilly, you would love to get a base hit here to blow open the game early for Chapmanville. Here comes the pitch, and as inside, called strike. Lilly tried to do some little bit of Broadway acting right there, try to say he got hit by the ball. The umpire says no, he's in there for strike 2. Now the count goes full at 3-2.
Yeah, you turned away from that pitch thinking that it was a little too inside, but it caught the inside part of the plate. We've seen that constantly from these umpires constantly, and Lilly does draw the walk, and we'll see if that draws a visit from Chapmanville coaching staff, and it will.
Yep. And that's Chapmanville pitching coach coming out to talk to Braylon Moore as well as Brody Dalton coming up to the mound. And Braylon Moore, already in a jam with no outs, has walked. Bases loaded. He gave up a hit to Zach Jordan to lead off. Walked Braylon Williamson and then gave up. And then an error happened when Roach hit it to Luke Knight on the E3. And then Hunter Lilly takes ball 4 and walks, bases loaded. Point Pleasant has an early 1-0 lead. And, Bill, how big is that for the Big Blacks against this number 1 Chapmanville Tigers?
Well, anytime you get a lead, it's big. But so we get a courtesy runner right now. That's Hayden Bentz that'll run for the catcher, Lilly. I mean, it's big to get a run early, but you don't want to stop there. You got nobody out. You got the bases loaded. You got the potential for a big inning here. You have to continue to attack. And meanwhile, if you're Braden Moore and Chapmanville, you just got to continue to throw strikes. Right now, he's having difficulty finding a strike zone. He's given up 2 walks and a double that came on a 3-1 count. So you don't want to continue to fall behind in the count, because then Point Pleasant can just set back and take ball after ball, and then knowing you got to throw a strike, they can tee off on you.
As that pitch is popped up by Johnny Porter, camping under it is Eli Surgoin, and he makes the grab. Infield fly would assume to be in, so he was going to be out anyway as bases were occupied. And one pitch, one swing from Johnny Moore, and he pops up to the second baseman, Eli Surgoin. And now that brings up the first baseman, number 4, Casey Killingsworth for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks.
Yeah, Porter just a little too anxious on that first pitch. He knew that Moore was going to come in and throw a strike, and if it was anywhere near the zone, he was going to hack at it. He just he got under it and popped it up on the infield.
As Moore's pitch popped out of play for Killingsworth, count go to 0-1. And while we're continuing, I want to give a shout out to 2 of my best friends from Point Pleasant. One of them is former middle school football coach for Point Pleasant, Jimmy Jordan, who would be watching this game, and my other one is Dakota Booth from Point Pleasant. And I just want to give a shout-out to those guys, as that pitch from Moore is foul-tipped over the press box from Killingsworth. Count will go to 0-2.
Unlike the Scott and Wayne game where the first 7 batters reached, Moore's able to get an out here early before this inning continues. So we'll see if they can keep getting strikes here and get out of this inning, as foul ball again. So count will remain 0-2 here, but Moore, like I said, doing a good job. He's since the mound visit, he's pounding the strike zone. He's getting the strikes. They're fouling off pitches. In fact, since the mound visit, he has thrown 5 strikes and looking for the 6th strike here and get that second out.
Here comes the pitch from Moore, and that is just inside, barely misses. Could have almost caught it if Casey Killingsworth would have leaned in. Count will go to 1-2 for the Big Blacks.
Great 0-2 pitch. Come inside, back it off. You may catch the inside part of the plate and get a called strike 3. It's the 1-2. You're still at the point where you can go, and he tries to paint the outside corner and doesn't miss by much. Now, at a 2-2 count, you're kind of limited in what you can do with your pitches here on a 2-2. You want to make sure that you don't make a mistake pitch here in Point Pleasant and add 2 more runs in this lead.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch from Moore, and it misses low for ball 3. So count is full at 3-2, and another walk here would give Point Pleasant another run, and they would add on to a 2-0 lead for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. So we'll see what Moore can do here on a full count pitch. As here comes the full count pitch. Swung on a miss, strike 3. Braylon Moore's first strikeout of the contest. And that's a big out, Bill, because now it's a huge out, and now plays anywhere for out number 3.
Yeah, it's a huge out. You got to force anywhere on the infield that you've had for the last few batters. But Moore, he didn't lose his composure, didn't lose his focus when the count went 0-2 and ran 3-2. Any one of those 3 pitches could have been called a 3rd strike. He battled back and was able to get out of it.
As that ball is caught by Joey Canterbury.
That saved 3 runs, because if Canterbury don't make that catch, Daniel, it gets by, and it Point Pleasant all over the base path. So what a job by Moore to get out of here and just give up the 1 run.
And Gavin Barnett, the right fielder, shot that one into left field to Joey Canterbury. He makes the diving grab. And that will do it for the first inning. Point Pleasant plates 1 run off of 1 hit from Zach Jordan, who comes around and score. And that will be it for the top half of the first inning. We're going to go into the bottom with Chapmanville coming up to bat as you're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament here at Ted Ellis Field. All right, welcome back here at Ted Ellis Field. Game 4 of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament between number 1 Chapmanville and the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. I'm Daniel Miller. Alongside with me is Bill Lusk. I will be calling the first 3 innings. Bill Lusk will be taking over for the next inning, and he will close us out for this ball game. As leading off for the Chapmanville Tigers will be the third baseman, number 3, Luke Knight.
And Knight's been a table setter for the Tigers. We'll see if he can get on base and continue that trend. We've seen him at Man Tuesday night, home run on the second pitch.
Luke Knight swung on and miss into the dirt for strike 1. We'll go over the lineup for Chapmanville. Leading off is Luke Knight, batting second. The shortstop, number 2, Talon Thompson. Batting third, the catcher, number 14, Brody Dalton. Batting fourth, the cleanup, number 9, center fielder, Trey Butcher. As Luke Knight pops this one up into the stands, and it looks like it could drop right in front of the fans here at Ted Ellis Field. Luckily, the ball didn't travel far, and luckily didn't hit a person. and that would have been dangerous. But finishing out the lineup, batting fifth will be the first baseman, number 16, Andrew Farley. Batting sixth, number 8, left fielder, Joey Canterbury. Batting seventh, number 13, the DH, Jacob Topping. He'll be batting for the right fielder, number 6, Lucas Price. As here comes the pitch way outside for ball one. Count will go to 1-2 to Luke Knight. And finishing up the lineup for Chapmanville, batting eighth, the pitcher, number 18, Braylon Moore, and batting ninth, the second baseman, number 7, Eli Surgoin. As that pitch gets behind Luke Knight, count will go even at 2 apiece.
Yeah, nothing deal harm there. Just looks like a pitch that got away from Tucker and behind Luke Knight here. Now Knight, who was in an 0-2 hole, is worked back and even to count at 2-2.
Luke Knight charged that one. That one could go to the wall. That could get out of here. Off the wall as Luke Knight is rounding to second. And he's going to hold up at second, as that will be a leadoff double for Chapmanville. Just like what Point Pleasant did, Chapmanville does the same thing with a leadoff double for Luke Knight and Bill. Just a few more inches in the air. That ball is out of here.
It is 3:15 down the line to right field, down the line. Where Luke Knight hit that, you probably figure it's about 3:20. He hit that probably about 3:19 and 3/4. So he needed another quarter to get it out of here.
As Tucker looks back at Luke Knight, here comes the pitch, and Talon Thompson will foul it out in the first base dugout. As we're going to go over the infield for Point Pleasant. On the mound for Point Pleasant is number 8, Grayson Tucker. Catcher, Hunter Lilly. First baseman, Casey Killingsworth. Second baseman will be Evan Roach. Shortstop will be Zach Jordan, and third baseman will be Johnny Porter. As Tucker steps off the mound. So we're going to go over the outfield from left to right for Point Pleasant will be Carson Lambert playing left, center fielder Braylon Williamson, and right fielder Gavin Barnett.
Yeah, Tucker stepped off the mound there to get more signs. A lot of times when you get a runner on second base like that and you're afraid that he may be picking up the signs, you want to go through a second set of signs. Some of these teams may have 3 sets.
As that pitch from Tucker is fouled off from Talon Thompson, the count will go to 0-2. And how big of a strikeout would this be for Grayson Tucker after he gave up an almost home run to Luke Knight, but it ended up being a double?
Well, it'd be big, but it'd be huge for him. But Talon Thompson's probably one of the best 2-strike hitters that Chapmanville's got in this lineup. All he's got to do is make contact, get that runner over to the third base. He knows his responsibilities, and we've seen him a number of times already, Daniel, when he's not coming up. Don't try to do too much with the bat. He just tries to make contact with it and get the runners over. And a lot of times he finds holes in that infield, and there's a time or two that he can drive the ball and split a gap and get that runner home from second and put himself in scoring position as well.
It's Chapmanville, like you mentioned, Bill. Chapmanville's one of the best hitting teams. They're one of the smartest hitting teams in the state, and that's why they're number 1 in Class AA. And right now would have to be one of the favorites to win the Class AA state championship. But you got other teams in there that could give Chapmanville a fight and maybe knock them off of that number 1 pedestal. As Tucker looks back at Knight, here comes the pitch. Talon Thompson rips that one into the gap, and that is going to score Luke Knight. As Thompson is rounding to second, he is going to hold up at second. And Chapmanville, just like that, with 2 hits and 2 doubles, they have tied up the ball game for Point Pleasant at 1 apiece.
Right on cue. I mean, that's all you can say about that, right on cue. We talked about Talon Thompson, his abilities just to get the bat on the ball and move the runners over. But, we also talked about the opportunities that he has, that he can easily drive a ball into the gap and get a double, just like we talked about the pitch before. And, we talked about Luke Knight's ability to possibly go yard or get on base with the double as well.
As Brody Dalton's coming up to the plate, and he foul tips that one out of play. So Talon Thompson was already making the move to third base. He will have to go back. Brody Dalton, the catcher for Chapmanville, a WVU baseball commit, and Bill, Brody's done it all this senior year. He's made it to the football playoffs. He's won a basketball state championship. He would love nothing more to finish his high school career in Gomart Park with a baseball state championship.
Yeah, and there's probably, I would venture to guess, 10 to 15 players in Logan County that have done that at Man Logan and Chapmanville. I believe, Logan made the football playoffs in 2005, went to the basketball state tournament, won it, then won the baseball state tournament. That was the first year for Man in Class A's. That pitch gets by catcher didn't do a great job behind the plate of closing his legs. He did everything he could to block the ball. It's Hunter Lilly. He got down in the right position to block it, got the glove down and everything, but there was too much of an opening there, between the legs, and that ball finds its way through and allows Thompson to move up. Now a hit on the right side and a sac fly will give Chapmanville the lead.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Tucker, and Dalton sends that one right past the second baseman. That will be a base hit, and that will score Talon Thompson from third. And Chapmanville has reclaimed the lead, has taken the lead now with a base hit RBI from Brody Dalton. 2-1 Chapmanville, and they still have yet to record an out in this inning.
Much like the Point Pleasant start to the first inning, but Chapmanville able to get the runners on, get them over by virtue of fastball, drive them in with a double, and then Dalton comes up with a single there. So 2 runs on 3 hits to start the contest, and you're not out of the woods yet. Trey Butcher's got some pop in that bat as well.
And then right behind Butcher is big Andrew Farley, who we saw his home run streak come to an end, but he still wants to keep hitting the ball and putting him out of play as that pitch has not been thrown yet, as now here comes the pitch on the way from Grayson Tucker. And Butcher sends that one to the second baseman, throws over to shortstop in time, and they got him out on the 4-6-3 double play. So a huge infield play for Point Pleasant to record 2 outs on the board after recording none when Trey Butcher was up at bat.
Well, if you're Chapmanville, that's the worst place you could hit the ball with the runner on first base is right at the second baseman, because all he's got to do is field and flip it to the shortstop, who's already moving to the right side with the left-hand hitter up. Brody Dalton gets a good jump off of first base, but because the ball was hit so hard and it's flipped to the shortstop, Brody Dalton just got to get out of the way. He don't even have a chance to get to the bag and slide and try to force a hurried throw from the shortstop. So that was a textbook double play for Point Pleasant, and a big, big pitch.
Andrew Farley, the junior first baseman, will come in to bat now for Chapmanville as he took the first pitch for strike, and this pitch misses the catcher Hunter Lilly for ball 1. The count will go to 1-1. And, Bill, we know the power that Andrew Farley has in his bat.
Yeah, he had 5 home runs in 4 ball games until that streak came to an end last night against Wayne. But, the power's there. I mean, anytime, especially on a day like this where the sun's out and the wind's dying down, this ball will carry. And we've already seen that in the first inning off the bat of Zach Jordan and Luke Knight and Talon Thompson. Those balls that were hit in the alley, they carried all the way to the fence. And if Andrew Farley can get a hold of one here on a 3-0, he can start him a new home run streak.
There comes the 3-1 pitch to Andrew Farley. As he pops that one out of play, count will go to full 3-2. And, Bill, one place where we've saw Andrew Farley, the one place you do not want to put the ball when you're pitching Andrew Farley is right by the numbers, because the last time batters had put the ball where his numbers were, they are still traveling in the air. That's how hard he can hit.
You want to keep it down. Don't put it at the letters or the numbers, and don't put it at the belt. You want to get it below, right at the knees, to where you can't necessarily drive it as much. And he'll get a walk there. So, no harm there if you're Point Pleasant. And Tucker, there's a walk's better than a home run.
Yeah, we know that Andrew Farley can put one out, and now that will bring up the left fielder, number 8 junior, Joey Canterbury, who's one of Chapmanville's best outfielders they have, who transferred over from Logan High School, and he's looking to try to keep this inning continued for the Chapmanville Tigers and add on to their 2-1 lead. Here comes the pitch from Tucker, swung on a miss by Joey Canterbury. Count goes to 0-1.
Yeah, I like to see Joey take a little something off that swing. He tried to do too much with it, trying to, power it into the outfield, and he came up empty. I mean, you don't have to kill the ball. Just meet the ball. It's going to go.
As that pitch is low into the dirt. Good block this time by Hunter Lilly to save Farley from running to second, as the count will go even at 1 apiece.
Yeah, 1-1 count there. Good block by Lilly there to prevent any further advancement from Farley at first base. Farley's not going to be stealing on the pitch right now. He's not going to be moving. Now with 2 strikes, he'll easily get to go on contact here. But if Canterbury can come back and work this count into his favor and get a full count, Farley will go on the pitch, and a ball in the gap would easily score him with 2 outs if he's on the move.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch, and outside, count even at 2 apiece. And we know Joey Canterbury has the tendency to be aggressive at the plate, and he's also got one of the best eyes in this region, as he's usually either hit by pitch and he can hit the ball or walked. So here comes the 2-2 pitch to Canterbury. That's low into the dirt. Good block this time by Hunter Lilly with his glove to keep Farley from moving over. So the count's full, so we'd have to assume Andrew Farley is running on this pitch.
Yeah, as soon as this pitcher picks his leg up and goes to the plate, Farley's going to be moving on the pitch. Something as a pitcher, you want to avoid those 2-out situations, full counts where the runner gets going.
As Joey Canterbury sends that one deep, that could get out of here. That could be at the wall. No, it's going to be dropped by the left fielder. Andrew Farley's rounding third, heading home, and Joey Canterbury will get an RBI double, and Chapmanville will extend their lead 3-1 over the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. And Bill, that was a hard-hit shot by Joey Canterbury.
Yeah, that ball just got to the warning track and died there for a second. I thought the play was going to be made by the left fielder, Carson Lambert, but he dove for it, and I think Canterbury thought maybe he caught the ball because he held up at first base, and by the time that the umpire signaled no catch, Canterbury was cruising into second base. Canterbury was going to have a double either way, whether the ball was caught or not, but just missed that one, as they like to say, in baseball, track power, and I'm sure those teammates of Joey Canterbury are down there in the dugout giving him probably going to give him a little bit of probably going to heckle him a little bit when he comes back and tell him to hit the weight room a little harder. as I know, as being a former player myself, that's one of the things that we always kid about with anybody that flew out to the warning track or just missed home run. Was like, hey, hit the weight room a little bit harder, that would go next time. So it's a little bit of a gamesmanship from the team, from your teammates, and it's all in fun and games too. I mean, that's just the type of Tiger team this are. They're a close knit family, and they're always joking around with one another down there. And I'm sure Joey's going to hear about it when he gets back to the dugout.
As now stepping in for the Chapmanville Tigers is Jacob Topping, and he fouls tipped that one out. Count goes to 0-1, and just like what we saw with Luke Knight, he was close to putting one out, and I think just a few more, if that fence was just a few more inches in, Joey Canterbury could have put one out of play here at Ted Ellis Field, as he's looking for his first home run in his baseball career at high school level. Here comes the pitch from Tucker, and that misses for ball one. Count will go to 1-1. And Bill, we saw that mound visit from Point Pleasant. Maybe that's telling Tucker just, hey, get this third out and try to limit the damage, as what Chapmanville's done here in the bottom half of the first inning.
Yeah, it's not that Tucker's pitching a bad game. He's pitching a contact. Just Chapmanville is just absolutely hitting everything that he throws up there, and they're finding gaps right now. And as easy as Chapmanville's finding gaps, that could come to an end in the innings as we move on. And Point Pleasant keeps putting bat on the ball. They can find the gaps. But, back to those two hits, we're seeing the ball carry to right field. Left field, it's kind of dying. I mean, that ball, I really thought when it left the bat that it was going to get out over the left field fence. And even the left fielder, he even turned and looked to see where it was going to be. And then at the last second, he had to make a diving attempt. So the ball's not carrying as well to left field as it is to right field.
And Jacob Topping swung on a miss, ball into the dirt. Jacob Topping will take first base on a strikeout, but he didn't. But the catcher couldn't complete it with the throw over to first. So just like that, Chapmanville's got runners in the corners, and here comes Braylon Moore to the plate for the Chapmanville Tigers, and he has an opportunity with a base hit here to score Canterbury from third and give Chapmanville a 4-1 lead.
Topping reaches base on the wild pitch. It's a strikeout wild pitch that'll allow him to reach base and continue this inning. Kind of hard to give the catcher a pass ball when Topping swings at it, and that ball hit off the plate before. It was in the dirt, and when Topping swung at it, it hits off the plate and bounces over the head of the catcher. The catcher does everything he can to go down to his knees to block it, but when it hits and takes that bounce, there's nothing you can do.
His pitch from Tucker is low. Count will go to 1-0 for Braylon Moore. And Braylon Moore, pitcher-on-pitcher duel right here, matchup for Chapmanville and Point Pleasant. as he's batting 8th, and he has some good pop to him. He's coming on late as that pitch is loaded there. Good snag by Hunter Lilly in order to save a run from 3rd.
Yeah, that that right there looked like it was going to get by and bring home a 4th run for Chapmanville, but Lilly gets over there, gets the glove down, is able to backhand it and prevent any movement.
As that pitch from Tucker is in there, called strike at the bottom of the strike zone right there. So good placement by Tucker.
It was good placement. That was kind of a dangerous pitch. Catcher Lilly sets up outside, and the pitch comes back inside over the heart of the plate. I don't know if that was a miscommunication between pitcher and catcher, but yeah, it was a dangerous spot.
As that pitch is swung on and foul tipped by Braylon Moore, count will go 2-2. And right now, if you're Grayson Tucker, you would love to get a strikeout here on Braylon Moore and end this inning after they had the double play with Brody Dalton to Trey Butcher, and then Chapmanville has just got on with 3 straight batters with Farley scoring, and Canterbury is staying on 3rd. As that hit from Moore grounded to the second baseman, throws over to first in time for out number 3, and that'll end the bottom of the 1st inning. Chapmanville has 3 hits and played 3 runs, as we'll be right back from Ted Ellis Field as Chapmanville leads 3-1 over the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. You're watching Chapmanville Tigers Baseball live on Video Productions. Welcome back to Ted Ellis Field for Day 2 and Game 4 of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament here at Chapmanville Regional. Point Pleasant taking on number 1, Chapmanville Regional Tigers. Up the bat for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks will be the DH, Carson Finnegan. It will be 8-9-1 coming up with Finnegan, Lambert, and Jordan. Here comes the pitch from Braylon Moore, and that is in there for strike 1. And Braylon Moore is he only has 1 strikeout, and he would love to have another here as the 0-1 pitch is foul tipped out. Count will go to 0-2 to Carson Finnegan.
And there's a pretty good chance that you can get the 2nd and 3rd strikeout of the afternoon here. Typically the 8-9 hitters in a lineup, usually the ones that they don't necessarily, they struggle to put the bat on the ball, but yet they're such good fielders and stuff that you've got to keep them out there in the field. And you also don't have an abundance of players that you feel comfortable putting in these spots too, but also at the same time they handle the bat as well. They can put the ball in play too. So good spot here for Moore to get a quick inning here and starting off with the 8 and 9 hitters before coming back around to the top.
And just like you mentioned, starting off great, and he does it there as he got Carson Finnegan to strike out looking, as that will be Moore's 2nd strikeout of the contest, and that'll bring up the 9-hitter, left fielder, Carson Lambert, who almost made a diving catch out there to rob Joey Canterbury a double, as that pitch from Moore is low but called strike 1.
And, talking about this Chapmanville coaching staff, they've got a scouting report on these guys, and they know how they want to attack the strike zone, how they want to attack these hitters, especially when you get to the 8 and 9 spots, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8 guys. You know their tendencies, and that's you tend to work to that.
As that pitch from Moore was fouled off by the bat on looked like check swing from Carson Lambert. Count will go to 1-2. And Braylon Moore would love to have strikeout number 3 as he's going with the 1-2 pitch to Lambert, and that will foul off over the press box for the count remaining 1-2.
That's only the 8th pitch that Moore has thrown in this 2nd inning. He threw 30 in the 1st inning, and really there wasn't we'll get to that point here in a second as that pitch was in the dirt, 2-2 now. But the first 4 hitters in the lineup, Moore struggled to throw strikes to, but then he started finding his little groove there later.
As Lambert hits the grounder to the shortstop, Talon Thompson. I lost track of it. Try to throw over to Farley, but Lambert is in there safe as the throw was late, and now that turns the lineup back to the top with Zach Jordan, who his last at bat led off with a standing double over the head of right fielder for Chapmanville, Lucas Price, and he would love to repeat of what he did in the first inning as Moore throws over to first, and Lambert is back in there safe. And they know Lambert, as a 9-hole runner, hitter, he can also run with his legs as he's in the left field, and that's probably the most important spot for right-handed batters, as you want to keep him safe, and make sure he don't take off running. As that pitch is swung on and foul tipped back by Zach Jordan, the count will go to 0-1.
Yeah, Lambert's able to get on base with an infield single at tough play for Talon Thompson, as our video production audience saw on the Little General Stores replay. Thompson gets over there in plenty enough time to make the play. Then at the last second, it kind of hits the edge of the infield grass, and Thompson's got to reach up for it. And that's what allowed Lambert to reach base on the infield single, because Thompson delivered a strike over to Andrew Farley that was dug out of the dirt, but because of that hop, that allowed Lambert to reach, as Thompson then had to become an outfielder to field it in the air.
As that pitch is swung on and hit, as Lambert was running but camping under it is Price, and he makes the grab for out number 2. That'll be an F9 for Lucas Price, and Chapmanville has 2 outs now with coming up the center fielder, number 16, Braylon Williamson, who got on with a walk his last at bat.
Yeah, people watching at home will probably think back to the first inning where they've said, "No, wait a minute, I thought Bill said the ball was carrying the right field." It is on a line drive. That pitch right there by Zach Jordan, he just got under it, lofted it up in the air too much. It was just a routine fly ball. If he hits that ball on the line, that ball's out of here.
As that first pitch from Braylon Moore is foul tipped out of play for strike 1 to Braylon Williamson, the center fielder for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. And Moore getting his signs from Brody Dalton. He throws over to first to Farley, and Lambert is back in there safe.
Couldn't quite tell if that ball maybe hit Lambert on the leg off of his shoes, or maybe in the backside or in the thigh one. Couldn't really tell. Nevertheless, it did hit him. I think he would have been in safely anyway had it not.
As that pitch by Moore swung on and hit foul out of play, Knight tried to track it down. He couldn't get it, so the count will go to 0-2 for the for the batter Braylon Williamson. And right now, Braylon Moore, battle of Braylons right here, would love to get strikeout number 3 for Chapmanville and erase the damage that he gave up from that hit from Carson Lambert.
Yes, looking ahead to the Chapmanville second inning, you got Surgoyne, Knight, and Thompson, 9-1-2 coming up. We know Surgoyne has the ability to get on base either with a bunt or by swinging.
As that pitch is low into the dirt, good block by Brody Dalton to keep Lambert from stealing second, and the count will go to 1-2 for Braylon Williamson.
Two of the best catchers here in southern West Virginia, of course, Brody Dalton behind the plate for Chapmanville. And just up the road in Logan, Jake Ramey, two of the best catchers, not only in Class AA, but what I would say the state of West Virginia.
As that pitch is popped up, foul out of play, Brody Dalton trying to make a grab on it, but it's going to go to the backstop, and it's going to fall for a strike. As that Brody Dalton, he lost it, and he tried to go track it, and it gets to the backstop, and he couldn't. It dropped before he could even grab it. So the count will remain at 1-2 for Braylon Williamson, and you got to think he's battling really good with Braylon Moore as he's trying his best to keep this inning going for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks.
Hey, he's doing a good job of up there battling, just keeping the foul off pitches, see if he can't get his pitch to drive here and produce a run. But we might have a plate second, and I don't know if Thompson missed the tag or if maybe the runner was already by the time he tagged him. Couldn't quite tell there, but nevertheless, it's a stolen base for Lambert.
Successful stolen base for Carson Lambert, as that throw from Dalton was just a little bit off target for Talon Thompson to make the grab and tag. So then now count will go to 2-2, and here comes the pitch, and that is swung on right past the – no, he grabbed it.
Farley
Great
got it.
snag by Andrew Farley for a second there. I thought it went by Andrew Farley, but no. The 6'6" frame of Andrew Farley makes the grab, and with that, he gets out number 3. So Point Pleasant goes down with only one runner on base, and that was Carson Lambert off of a walk, and that will – in the top half of the second inning. We're going to go into the bottom as Chapmanville still leads 3-1 over Point Pleasant. We'll be right back as you're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament live on Video Productions. Welcome back here in the bottom of the second. Chapmanville leads Point Pleasant 3-1 in Game 4 of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament here at Ted Ellis Field. Leading off for the Chapmanville Tigers in this inning will be the second baseman, number 7, Eli Surgoin. As here comes the pitch from Grayson Tucker, as that is in there, called strike, 0-1 the count. The batting order will go like this: Eli Surgoin will bat, then it'll be Luke Knight and Talon Thompson, 9-1-2 up for the Chapmanville Tigers. Here comes the 0-1 pitch from Grayson Tucker, swung on and missed high from Eli Surgoin. Count will go to 0-2.
Chapmanville Regional Lady Tigers softball team in action today against at Polka. Chapmanville wins at 12-3 over the Lady Dots. Logan Lady Wildcats in action out at Pikeville, Kentucky. I'll pull up the score there here and see if I've got an update on that one. Actually, Chapmanville wins 12-3 in 6 innings. So mercy rule win for the Lady Tigers.
That 1-2 pitch is fouled out of the third base line. Count will remain 1-2, and congratulations to the Chapmanville Lady Tigers, who are starting to hit their stride here at the right part of the season, as we're getting close to postseason play in softball. And you couldn't have asked for a better stride for Chapmanville in this later season, as Braylon Moore foul tips it out. The count will remain 1-2. And, yeah, we would like to keep the updates in Logan County with Logan softball traveling to Pikeville, Kentucky for a softball matchup that both, if it is correct, Bill, it's Pikeville High School.
Yes.
Logan is 1-1 against Pikeville this season.
Well, they didn't play Pikeville. They had, as you know, Surgoin gets caught looking there for strikeout. This strikeout number 2 for Tucker. But Logan with a 9-8 walk-off win in the opener last night over the Paintsville Lady Tigers. And then they followed that up in a nightcap with a 6-1 win over the Elizabethton, Tennessee Cyclones. And they defeat Grundy, Virginia today 15-0 and currently in action against the Lady Comets of East Carter High School.
You said Grundy, Virginia, correct?
Grundy, Virginia, 15-0.
The Grundy Waves?
The Golden Wave, yes.
My nieces play softball or my cousins play softball for Grundy, Virginia, and I can't believe I missed their game. Shout out to Olivia Morgan and Madison Morgan from the Grundy Waves, as here comes the 2-0 pitch to Luke Knight, and that misses, ball 3. Count will go to 3-0 for the third baseman, number 3, Luke Knight.
That's a 15-0 win in 3 innings for Logan, a 1-hit shutout for Harley Quick. 6 strikeouts in that game.
If I'd have known they was playing, I'd have drove down to Pikeville and watched them. I feel bad. Well, then again, my little cousins, they're never on their phones anymore with softball season, so they never tell me anything. But now, Luke Knight will get on with a walk, with a one-out walk, and that will bring up Talon Thompson, who is last at bat, sent the ball into the gap where the Tigers logo is here at Ted Ellis Field and drove home Luke Knight, who his last at bat led off with a double that was just close from being a home run, as that pitch is upstairs high for ball one.
You got one out here in the bottom of the second inning. If you're Tucker for Point Pleasant, you don't want to allow any other base runners to further reach at the top of this Chapmanville lineup, because they're dangerous at the top, 1 through 5. 6 through 9 is not as dangerous as the top, but if you get runners on for the batters in 6 through 9, we've seen that they will bring them in and produce runs for the Tigers. But this top of the lineup, 1 through 5, when they're getting on base, that's when Chapmanville's at their best. They're producing runs and producing a number of them.
Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Thompson. That is low, just misses the strike zone for ball 2. And like you said, Chapmanville can put the barrel to the ball, and they can get runs in it. Honestly, anytime opportunity is. All the teams I've seen around Class AA in the state of West Virginia, Chapmanville is by far one of the best hitting teams in AA, and probably the best hitting team in the state, as that pitch is inside. Talon Thompson trying to move back, but it's called for strike 1. Count goes to 2-1.
Well, they've scored 7 or more runs in their last 7 games, and if you really want to go back to the last 10, they've scored 7 or more in 8 of their last 10. So, and they've got 3 today, and if they continue to get the base runners on, that streak is going to reach 8 games and run 9 of 11. So this is a dangerous team and one of the highest scoring teams in Class AA in the state of West Virginia.
As that pitch from Tucker to Thompson is in there for strike 2, 2-2 count for Talon Thompson. Grayson Tucker throws back over to first, and Luke Knight is back in there safe. As Bill, we know how dangerous Luke Knight is with the bat, but he's also dangerous with his legs as well.
Yeah, I don't think that was the best pickoff move by Tucker, because when he turned to the mound and threw that, I thought he was going to throw a knuckleball over there the way the grip was.
As that pitch is low into the dirt, good block by Hunter Lilly for ball 3. Count will go to 3-2 for Talon Thompson. And like you said, that was a little bit of a slow knuckler thrown over to first. Just luckily, the first baseman for Point Pleasant, Killingsworth, was able to grab it, as we get a time called by the ump to clean home plate with this full count pitch coming to Talon Thompson, who is only a sophomore, Bill, as he's got 2 more years of high school baseball. And if this kid stays at this rate, he can be a first-team All-Stater and not go this far as a future Hall of Famer for Chapmanville Regional Athletics. As that full count pitch is in there for strike 3, and Luke Knight takes off running, and he is in the second base safe. But a strikeout to Talon Thompson, and try to throw out Luke Knight is not in time, and that'll bring up Brody Dalton for the Chapmanville Tigers.
Kind of up in the zone, but it may have clipped the bottom of the letters on the bottom of the letters that say Tigers there for Chapmanville. Thompson thought he had ball 4 and was running down to first base, but nevertheless, the home plate umpire called it strike 3, and a good job by Thompson to collect himself and not draw any further attention to himself that may have warranted an ejection, because in the Wayne Scott game, we had 2 players from Wayne upset with the umpiring crew that was tossed in that game.
As that pitch is low into the dirt, good block by Hunter Lilly to keep the speedy Knight from stealing to third, as the count will go to 1-1 for the catcher, Brody Dalton. And yeah, you don't want to lose your cool in high school baseball. Umpires are not afraid to pull the trigger and to give you the boot in the ball game. As Tucker is looking back at Luke Knight, looks at him again. Here comes the 1-1 pitch outside, low into the dirt, and good save by Hunter Lilly to keep that ball from getting past him and keep Luke Knight from stealing to third.
Also, the important thing that these Chapmanville Tigers that they have to, and Point Pleasant, both teams have to realize is, I do believe this is the same umpiring crew that has called since 12 noon. So this is a third game that they're calling.
As that pitch is swung on and hit by Brody Dalton, sky high to right field, and it'll make the grab for out number 3. And that'll end the second inning, where Chapmanville has no hits, and they only get one runner on base by a walk from Luke Knight. And we're going to go into the top of the third. Chapmanville still leads 3-1 over Point Pleasant. We'll be right back as you're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament live on Video Productions. I'm just kidding. And we're back here in the top of the third. Chapmanville leads 3-1 over the Point Pleasant Big Blacks in the DAFFER Memorial Tournament. Here comes the 0-0 pitch to second baseman Evan Roach as he fouls that one out of play down third base line. The count will go to 0-1 to Evan Roach. And Bill, interesting note about Evan Roach, he is a Moorhead State football signee as he's going to play football next year for the Eagles at Moorhead. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and that's low into the dirt, 1-1. And another interesting fact that my alma mater, West Virginia State, will be playing at Moorhead State next year. So another, well, he was at Point Pleasant for most of his, for first of his career. Aiden Slack will be playing against his best friend, Evan Roach, as that pitch is.
It's a foul off. Check swing. Check swing looked like it hit the bottom of the bat, the knob of the bat. Roach was checking his swing. He didn't get hit by the pitch on the hands. Even if he had, I think he might have went a little too far. It would have been a swinging strike. But yeah, Evan Roach, well-deserved honor, well-deserved scholarship to Moorhead State. He's an exceptional football player, of course, man. Didn't play him this year, but they had played him in 3 of Roach's 4 years, and he's just a phenomenal athlete for Point Pleasant.
Here comes the pitch from Moore, 1-2, and that misses low for ball 2, and the count will go to 2-2. As yes, Logan County and not only Logan County but West Virginia Town is finally hitting the college ranks. As that hit from Roach is thrown over to Talon Thompson. He throws over to Farley in time for out number 1, and that'll bring up the catcher Hunter Lilly for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. At his last at bat, he walked.
Yeah, Lilly was able to, his last pitch, last at bat, I think he fouled off a couple of 2-strike pitches before he was able to get the walk off Moore. And it happens to be the RBI of the game, the long play that produced the run for Point Pleasant in that first inning where they loaded the bases with nobody out.
Lilly sends that hit to center fielder, to Trey Butcher, who makes the grab for out number 2. So just like that, 2 quick outs for Point Pleasant, and that'll bring up Johnny Porter, the third baseman, wearing number 30, who popped up and flew out to second baseman Eli Sirgoin.
2 quick outs here for Moore on the mound, looking to get out of it with a quick inning, and he might just do so on this pitch.
Farley grabs it, scoops up to Braylon Moore, and he didn't step on the bag in time as Johnny Porter, right on the spot, Johnny on the spot, gets on the bag safe, and that'll just be goes down as a single. It was a close play right there, but Johnny Porter was able to beat out that throw And now Point Pleasant's got another runner on runner on for the third straight inning with Casey Killingsworth, the first baseman, coming up for the Big Blacks.
Miscommunication there on that play. I'll get to it here in just a second. But that ball was kind of, fisted and popped up there. Andrew Farley gets over there. You've got the second baseman that's coming over as well, and then Moore's coming over. I think Moore thought that maybe Farley was going to field it and try to go to the bag himself, and then right at the last second, Farley flips it to Moore, and it kind of caught Moore off guard as he caught the ball and was going to look to see where the bag was, and by the time he stepped on the bag, the batter Porter was able to leg it out for an infield single.
And on that pitch, Casey Killingsworth wears that pitch from Moore, and he will take his base in pain as he is slow. He's still shaking up over there, but it looks like he's going to be shake it off, and that'll bring up the right fielder, number 28, Gavin Barnett, for the Point Pleasant, who his last at-bat flew out to left field as that pitch from Moore is low inside. Ball one, count goes 1-0.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do here, you got 2 quick outs. If you're Moore and you've come back and you gave up an infield single and then hit a batter, last thing you want to do is continue this inning and possibly let Point Pleasant creep back into this game. I mean, it's 3-1. Let him cut into it, or possibly let him even tie or take the lead here if things don't settle down here for Moore.
As that last pitch painted the edge of the strike zone for strike one. Here comes the 1-1 pitch from Moore as Barnett offered at that pitch. Check swing. It's called strike anyway, so the count goes to 1-2 to Gavin Barnett with Carson Finnegan up right behind him getting ready to bat if Barnett is able to reach base.
Yeah, couldn't quite hold up on his swing there. Went too far.
As that pitch is foul tipped out of play behind the catcher, Brody Dalton. Count will remain 1-2. And how big would this be, Bill, for Point Pleasant to keep this inning going and tie up that base and try to put pressure on Braylon Moore, as he allowed one hit, but then he's kind of settled in right now, and this is the first jam he's seen since the first inning.
We just want to continue to get runners on and put the pressure on him, as you mentioned. Try to get a hit or two in there and see if you can't spring across a couple of runs. Right now, you've got a 2-2 count here, so you just want to try to do what you can with the ball. Don't try to do too much with it. Just put it in place, see if you can't make something happen here if you're Barnett.
Here comes the 2-2 offering to Barnett, and he takes it low for ball 3. So the count is full, and you'd have to think the runners are going to move on this pitch from Braylon Moore. And right here, a base hit for Gavin Barnett can score the run from second. And if he could put this one in the gap, he can tie this ball game as he steps out of the batter's box for time. As
you got Andrew Farley back there with 2 strikes. He's playing behind the runner now. He knows he's going to be moving on the pitch. There's really no need to hold him unless you've got a play here to where you can sneak in at the runner and maybe backdoor him and still.
As that pitch misses inside. Chapmanville fans wanted that one, wanted strike 3, but the umpire said no, ball 4. And the bases are loaded for Carson Finnegan coming up to the bat for the Big Blacks, who his last at-bat went down looking on strikeouts.
Yeah, chance to atone for that strikeout, and that was leading off second inning. Now you come to the bases loaded and a chance to get a run in.
Finnegan drives that one into the gap, into the triangle of doom is what I called. That's going to score a run as the bases will remain loaded for Point Pleasant. So they add on, they cut the lead in half. So they trail 3-2 with the 9-hole hitter, Carson Lambert, who his last at-bat got on with a single. And he would love to do nothing more, Bill, than to exactly that and to tie up this ball game for Point Pleasant.
Good piece of hitting by Finnegan to put it out there to where nobody could get it. 3 players were converging, center fielder, left fielder, shortstop for Chapmanville, and that ball drops where nobody can reach it. That allows Porter to score. Good news for Chapmanville is that Killingsworth, the first baseman, he's not a fast runner, and you could see the third base coach holding him up. Otherwise, we'd have a tie ball game right now.
That pitch is missed for ball 1, and that pitch is swung on and hit high. Trey Butcher's camping under it, and he is going to make it the grab in time for out number 3. So Point Pleasant gets 2 hits on an RBI single from Carson Finnegan, but they leave bases loaded in this inning. And that'll do it for the top half of the third inning. We'll be right back in for the bottom of the third. You're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament here at Ted Ellis Field live on Video Productions. I did, but I just didn't know if you just wanted to give me the full four. I didn't know if you wanted to give me
3.5, 3.5, 3.5.
All right, so welcome back here in the bottom of the third. Chapmanville leads 3-2 over Point Pleasant Big Blacks in the DAFFER Memorial Tournament here at Ted Ellis Field. Coming up the bat for the Tigers will be the center fielder, number 9, Trey Butcher. He will be followed by Andrew Farley and Joey Canterbury. 4, 5, 6 due up for the Chapmanville Tigers. As Trey Butcher's last at bat, he grounded out on a 4-6-3 double play to give Point Pleasant 2 outs, but then Chapmanville would play the run after that to extend their lead 3-1. And here comes the pitch from, looks like we might have a new pitcher, and we do for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. We didn't get it down. That is Anthony Marrero for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks, who's coming in to relieve for Grayson Tucker. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Butcher, and that misses for ball one. Count goes to 1-1.
So Tucker was in the DH spot anyway. He was being DH'd for. So Marrero comes in. He'll go into that 8 spot and be DH'd for by Finnegan. As the crowd not happy with that one, and got to tend to agree with him. The pitch did look a little outside from up here, but this umpire's been pretty consistent with that strike call on the outside. If the thread catches any part of it, he's going to call it a strike.
As that pitch from Marrero is base hit by Trey Butcher right past the second baseman. So that'll be Butcher's first hit of the contest. And that'll bring up the dangerous, ever so dangerous junior first baseman, number 16, Andrew Farley, who can put one out of play, Bill, just with one swing of the bat. That's just how powerful he has been this entire season for Chapmanville.
Yeah, he can. He has that ability to do so, and he swings and rips that one foul. Had a healthy cut on that one and just did come up, just didn't line up foul. If he's able to get in, as you mentioned, able to get in a hold of one, again, hitting on a line drive, the ball's going to get out of here. If you get too much of it and pop it up in the air, it's not going to carry as much.
As that pitch from Marrero's fouled out of play from Farley, count will go to 1-2. And we're going to look at Grayson Tucker, who has 2 strikeouts on the day. He walked, if I can remember, he walked one batter.
I've got Tucker giving up 2 innings. We'll get to it after this. I've got it right here. 2 innings pitched for Tucker. 3 runs, all 3 earned on, I've got 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, and a pair of walks. So 3 strikeouts, 2 walks for Tucker. He is the pitcher of record, and that ball smoked in the center. Well, actually, it did not. Mound slowed it up, and a break for Point Pleasant as Butcher is forced at second base. Wow, what a break for the Big Blacks. Instead of first and second, nobody out, they've got first base, one out.
That was just unfortunate for Chapmanville. That was a good hit right up the middle. If you look on our instant replay, good awareness by the second baseman, Evan Roach, to throw over to the shortstop, Jordan, to tag Trey Butcher to get the 4-6 out. And just like that, a base runner raced, and that'll bring up Joe Canterbury, who takes that pitch foul out of play for 0-1. And, Bill, that was very close and very questionable.
Oh, Daniel, as you saw on our little General Stores replay there on video production, as soon as that ball leaves the bat, it looks like it's ticketed for center field. Then you see on the replay at the last second a little bit of dirt kick up off the mound, and that's what slowed it up and allowed Evan Roach to get over there to make the stop at second, behind the bag at second base, and he's able to flip it to the shortstop cover, and that was Zach Jordan to get the force out of Trey Butcher. Like I said, bang play out at second, but the out goes Point Pleasant's way.
As that pitch from Marrero's popped up to second baseman, and
Andrew
Farley's got to get back, and he doesn't.
He didn't know how many outs it was.
That'll be a double play. He didn't know how many outs it was. He thought it was 2 outs, but there was only 1. So on the double play, Point Pleasant erased the threat from Chapmanville, and they hold the game to the score 3-2. Chapmanville still leading Point Pleasant. So we'll be right back here in the top of the 4th inning. Point Pleasant will come up to bat with Zach Jordan, Braylon Williamson, and Evan Roach. 1, 2, 3. We'll be right back as you're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament live on Video Productions. All right, we're back here in the top of the 4th of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament between Chapmanville and Point Pleasant, and we want to make a correction. We were saying number 16 for Point Pleasant was Braylon Williamson. It is Brylan Williamson. We got the we got a miscommunication there, and we fixed it now. So it's Brylan Williamson who is
Zach Jordan.
Zach Jordan's coming up to the plate, and he hits that one high to center fielder Trey Butcher in time for out number 1.
Well, Daniel, I'll tell you right now, I could track down these fly balls right now as high as they're up in the air, and I'm not as quick and agile as what I used to be back in my high school days, even into my college days. But these players are just putting too much air on the ball, and I don't care if Butcher's playing back at the warning track up against the sign that says 380 there. He's going to have plenty enough time to run in and camp under a ball like that just hangs in the air for what seems 30 seconds.
Braylon Moore pitch to Brylan Williamson is swung on a miss. Count will go to 1-1. And I can't say about my athletic career. I am almost I'm not telling how much I weigh, but I know I couldn't make that catch if my life depended on it. As that pitch from Moore swung on a miss by Williamson. Count will go to 1-2 for Brylan Williamson. And Braylon Moore would love to record strikeout number 2. Or strikeout number 3 for the Chapmanville Tigers. As that pitch is low in the dirt, gets by Brody Dalton. Count will go even at 2 apiece.
I just think that ball that ball hit the dirt. Don't know if it necessarily hit the plate or if maybe it hit Dalton's shin guards and popped up in the air like that. But nevertheless, it was a ball regardless, and there was no runner on base, thankfully, or else with the Jordan up there, leadoff hitter, he might have been able to get to third on a pass ball.
As that pitch is fouled off, count remains 2-2. Here comes a 2-2 offering to Brylan Williamson, and he checked swing, and he went around for strike 3, and that is strikeout number 3 for Braylon Moore, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Evan Roach, who is 0 for 1 today. He reached first on an error, and he grounded out his last at-bat in the 3rd inning.
Good opportunity here to have a real quick inning here, have a 1-2-3 inning, which would be the first one for Braylon Moore if he can get it done.
And just like that, Evan Roach lines it out to the shortstop, Talon Thompson, who makes the grab in time for out number 3. And just like that, Point Pleasant went down in order 1, 2, 3. As we'll be right back, and from here on out, the remainder of the game, Bill Lusk will be doing the play-by-play, and we will switch roles as you're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament live on Video Productions.
Welcome back to Ted Ellis Field for Game 4 of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament on Video Productions. Chapmanville will send up Jacob Topping, Braylon Moore, Eli Surgoyne, 7, 8, 9. Due up in the Tigers lineup. Bill Lusk with you, taking you the rest of the way here on Video Productions as Daniel Miller steps into the color broadcast seat, and I'll take over for play-by-play from here out. So Chapmanville up 3-2, looking to add to their lead here. And before they can do so, they got to get some base runners on base. And Topping takes a pitch in the dirt for a ball, 1-0 the count.
And Topping, his last at bat, he went out on strikes, but he wasn't able to throw out.
He'll get a single as he's able to hit it through the right side, out of the reach of the second baseman, Evan Roach. So leadoff single for Jacob Topping. Braylon Moore, the pitcher, coming up. And we'll see if Coach Josh Rake selects to have Moore lay down a bunt, trying to move Topping into scoring position at second base. Again, 3-2, Chapmanville leads. 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, 3 runners left on base for the Chapmanville Tigers. For Point Pleasant, 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors, 7 runners left on base. Moore does get a bunt down. It's a beauty, and he's going to be able to reach as there's nobody at third base, but the shortstop will get over there quickly as Braylon Moore lays down a sacrifice bunt that turns out to be an infield single, and that is hit number 7 for the Tigers. Perfect placement by Moore on that bunt attempt as you watch it on our Little General Stores replay here on Video Productions. Daniel, couldn't have done it better myself.
No, no one could have done it better. So that was beautiful by Braylon Moore. And the third baseman, he was going to grab it, and then all of a sudden it feels like Jack in the Box. He just jumped out of play and just couldn't grab it. And you just have to give good credit there by the coaching of Josh Rakes and the perfect placement by that bunt for Braylon Moore as Eli Surgoyne is going to step up to the plate and see what he can do to try to bring home Topping from second.
Surgoyne square shows bunt, gets it down in pretty much similar same spot. This time the pitcher will be able to field and throw over in time to retire Surgoyne 1-3 on the sacrifice bunt. But runners move up to second and third. Now the top of the lineup coming up, Luke Knight for the Chapmanville Tigers. Knight 1 for 1 with a double and a run scored back in the first inning and walk and stole a base back in the second. So Chapmanville with a golden opportunity here to add to its 3-2 lead.
And you know Luke Knight, who can show bunt at any time but also kill one out of the park, as he almost did it back in the first inning. Like you said, a few feet in, and that ball would have been over the 350 sign at the wall, and Chapmanville would have had a home run with Luke Knight's bat.
First pitch outside for a ball, 1-0 the count to Knight. Pitch on the way from Moreno, and Knight shows bunt and fouls it off. 1-1. Now the count. Knight led off the first inning, as Daniel was alluding to, with a double off of the right field fence just below the yellow line out there, right about where the right fielder Gavin Barnett's playing. Barnett knew the ball was over his head. He turned and ran back to it, and we're going to get a courtesy runner for Chapmanville, and that is Eli Messer. He will run for the pitcher, Braylon Moore, at second base.
And Eli Messer is one of those Chapmanville Tigers baseball players that you just love to have on the team with his speed. He's a young athlete, but he can do the job done. Well, get the job done with his legs.
Pitch in the dirt, 2-1 to count. Is a good stop by the catcher for Point Pleasant, Hunter Lilly. He's been very active behind the plate tonight, stopping balls in the dirt, keeping them from getting to the backstop and prevent any further advancement by the Chapmanville base runners. 2-1 on the way, swung on a miss by Knight. 2-2 the count. And now, if you're Moreno here, you've got Knight set up 2-2 to where you may try to get him to chase something, but at the same time, you don't want to put a pitch in the dirt and get by and allow that run to score from third. As that pitch swung on, hit in the outfield, should be deep enough to get a run in. We'll see as the left fielder Lambert makes the catch. Tagging from third, coming in is topping the score, and moving up on the play on the throw is the courtesy runner Eli Messer. So Chapmanville leads 4-2 as a throw from the catcher to the third baseman gets by, but Messer is unable to advance. So 2 away, and Talon Thompson the batter.
Luke Knight does his job. He sacrificed fly out to left field and brings home the run. Jacob Topping, and now Talon Thompson, who is 1 for 2 today with a double and a strikeout. And like what he did back in the first inning, he has the power to put one into the gap and add on to this Chapmanville lead.
Chapmanville playing a little bit of small ball here in this inning. First 2 runners get on. Jacob Topping gets a single through the infield. Braylon Moore lays down a bunt that turns into an infield single. Then Surgoin lays down the sacrifice bunt to move runners up to second and third. Luke Knight produces a sac fly. So Chapmanville getting runners on, moving them over without the benefit of a hit here, and they now have a 4-2 lead as Thompson is ahead in a count. 2 balls, no strike.
Talon Thompson is just one of those talented young sophomores for Chapmanville that they have on this team, and you just got to be happy with how they're playing in this season.
Thompson swings and sends a drive into right center field. The center fielder will be able to track that down. Brylan Williamson to make the catch and retire the Chapmanville Tigers in the top of the 4th inning, but not before they score a run on 2 hits and leave a runner stranded. 4 innings in the books from Ted Ellis Field. It is Chapmanville 4, Point Pleasant 2. You're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament on Video Productions. We're ready, Sid.
Yep.
Welcome back to Ted Ellis Field, day number 2, game number 4 of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament, with Chapmanville leading Point Pleasant 4-2 as we move to the top of the 5th inning. Hunter Lilly, Johnny Porter, Casey Killingsworth, 4, 5, 6 in the Point Pleasant lineup due up as the Braylon Moore works and delivers a strike on the outside corner. 0-1 to count to Lilly, who is 0 for 1. He flew out in the third, and he walked with the bases loaded to produce the first run of the game for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. And now the count 1-1 That pitch swung on, chopped back to the mound. Moore off of it will race it over to the bag before underhanding a toss to Andrew Farley for the first out. And Daniel, 3 pitches, 1 out. Braylon Moore starting to settle in on the mound.
Yeah, he's starting to settle in after that first inning that he gave up a run, and then back in the third inning gave up another run, and but he hasn't been rattled in this game. He's done a good job of handling these Point Pleasant batters.
Only had one inning where he retired the side in order, and that was the 4th inning. And he's actually, you go back to the 3rd inning when he recorded that last out, he's retired the last 5 in order and has a 1-1 count on Johnny Porter, who is 1 for 1 with a fly out to second base back in the 1st inning, and he singled and scored back in the 3rd.
And we had a little update, scary crash down at NASCAR's
the
race.
Xfinity Series. Blaine Perkins, we hope everything's okay there. Looking at the photos, it looked very scary, but that's the risk that you take on them restrictor plate speedways when you travel at such high speed. As Porter takes a pitch in the dirt, 2-1. But I will say this, as being a NASCAR fan, if you see a car that's flipping and debris just flying everywhere on the car, as Porter swings and misses, it's 2-2. That is just that's just that much more that's there to protect the driver, as opposed to a head-on crash into the wall at about 190 miles per hour. Safer barrier or not, that's the most dangerous thing in NASCAR is when you hit head-on, because there's nothing there to protect the driver in the front of the car, as opposed to when the driver's flipping and all that debris and parts are flying off the car. So 2-2 pitch fouled off by Johnny Porter. Count remains 2-2. Moore has a new baseball. And Moore with a sign, 2-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed by Porter. Strikeout number 4, out number 2 in the top of the 5th for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks.
And now bring up Casey Killingsworth, who is 0 for 1 today. He struck out in the 1st inning, and then in the 3rd inning, he was hit by a pitch, and he got as far as third base, but could not score for Point Pleasant.
And that pitch swung on, hit short. Thompson knocks it down, but he's going to have trouble with it, and it's going to get into the outfield. I imagine that has to be an error on Talon Thompson, because that ball should have easily been fielded. And Thompson, you can see him out in the field. He knows he should have made that play, and if you ask him, he'll tell you that he should have made it. But it's a 2-out error and allows the base runner to reach base and continue the inning for Gavin Bennett. So Killingsworth is on base. And Bennett swings and sends a rope down the left field line. It drops in fair. Here comes Killingsworth around second. He's heading to third, and he'll be held up there as Bennett has a 2-out double. And Point Pleasant has the tying runs on base at second and third in scoring position. And Carson Finicum, the DH, who singled back in the 3rd inning to bring Point Pleasant to within 3-2, now has an opportunity to deliver a single here and possibly tie the game at 4.
That's why he's in the DH spot. He's one of the best. He's a good hitter that can do the job for Point Pleasant, and he's going to try to bring home these runners in scoring position and see if Moore can record this 3rd out for Chapmanville.
Pitch swung on and fouled by Finnegan. 0-1 the count to Finnegan. Point Pleasant has left 7 runners on base through 4 innings. We're now in the 5th inning here with 2 outs, and they have 2 more aboard in scoring position. See if they can get him in. That pitch swung on and hit the second base. It'll be fielded on a hop by Surgoin, who will throw over in time to retire Point Pleasant and leave 2 more runners stranded. So 4.5 innings in the books. Point Pleasant threatens in the top of the 5th inning. They get a hit, 1 error, leave 2 runners on base. 4.5 in the books. Chapmanville 4, Point Pleasant 2. You're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament on Video Productions.
Nacho.
Bottom of the 5th inning from Ted Ellis Field in Chapmanville, West Virginia. Chapmanville Tigers, number 1 in Class AA, leading the Point Pleasant Big Blacks 4-2 as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Chapmanville Tigers will send up 3, 4, 5 in their lineup. Brody Dalton, Trey Butcher, and Andrew Farley against Anthony Moreno. First pitch swinging by Dalton, swung on, hit deep into right center field. But there's the center fielder. That is Brylan Williamson, just shy of the warning track to make the catch. One away on one pitch.
And now that brings up Trey Butcher, and I was wanting to mention something about Brody Dalton. He has probably one of the best walk-up musics to Taylor Swift. Him and Garrett Williamson has interesting walk-ups with. Garrett Williamson's is Rihanna, his is Taylor Swift. But if you can back up the way they play, you have the right to have that walk-up music.
And then you get some guys down there for Man High School and Hillbillies down in Man, West Virginia that have some WWE walk-up songs. So you get a mix of walk-up songs with these players, and that's I like it. You know, we didn't have the walk-up music when I played back then. We didn't think about it, but it does kind of give these players like a major league feel, kind of get them pumped up for their at-bats. And I think some of them may have 2 or 3 different ones at times. So 2-0 the count to Butcher. Butcher swings, hits a hard ground ball, hit back towards the middle. It's off the mound. Shortstop fields and throws, not going to have a play, as that will be an infield single for Trey Butcher, his second hit of the afternoon. And whether or not that ball hit the mound, Daniel, that was going to be ticketed for the outfield anyway, but it hits off the mound right back to the shortstop, Zach Jordan, who kind of got handcuffed by the ricochet off the mound and was unable to fire a strike to get Butcher, who's a quick runner, plus he bats left-handed, so kind of a double-edged sword for a fielder when you got a left-handed batter in the box. So Farley, the batter, swings, sends a high fly ball that will be out of play down the left field line. That ball had a lot of air to it, and if that ball's lined out, that's definitely out of here down the left field line.
And as soon as Farley made that contact, almost every Chapmanville fan was about ready to get out of their seat because they want to see another home run from Andrew Farley.
Well, I'll tell you one person who knew that ball wasn't out of here, and that was Andrew Farley. As soon as it left the bat, he just stayed in the batter's box. He knew it was going to hook foul down the line. He gave it a good swing on it and gave it a long ride, but it was foul. Next pitch is a ball. Next pitch up high, 2-1 the count. And Moreno better be careful there, because if that pitch gets down right around the belt area or the letters, that's dangerous, as Farley, that's where he likes it. That's his wheelhouse. That pitch swung on, hit foul down the third baseline and out of the reach. Josh Rake's down there at third base, so 2-2 the count.
Andrew Farley is just probably one of the best contact hitters you can find in Southern West Virginia. He can find a placement of the ball, and he can make you pay, and he can put it in play. And if you're just not careful, like you just mentioned, around the letters and numbers, he will put it out of play. As Andrew Farley is just one of the most dangerous batters you can see in a baseball lineup.
Pitch on the way, swung on and fouled out of play down the right field line. Good point that you mentioned. But seeing all the, even some of the opposing teams that we've seen, and of course, myself and Daniel, we do play-by-play for WVOW in Logan. I'll say this about Farley after this pitch, as that pitch is swung on and hit down the third baseline and into the corner for extra bases. Farley's going to have 2, and cruising in the third is Butcher. So it's a 1-out standing double for Farley, his first hit of the afternoon. But Daniel, another thing about Andrew Farley, he is probably the strongest hitter that we've seen, because we've seen him just not really swing the bat and still put him out of the ballpark. Oh, yeah, and you had to look at the one hit that down at Logan, he put power behind it, but where it was Logan has a deep field, it got over one of the fastest players in the state, Aiden Slack, and if that fence was just a little bit in, Bill, that could have been out of there, and Farley could have had a home run streak started at Logan. But like you mentioned, he is a good contact hitter and a good power hitter, and that's why Chapmanville is just one of the best teams in the state with a bat like him on the roster. Canterbury, the batter, takes a pitch upstairs for the ball. 1-0 the count. Pitch on the way, swung on and hit in the left field. Chapmanville's going to get a run in. As coming in to score is Butcher. Here comes Farley around third, and he will score. So Joey Canterbury comes through with a 2-run single, and the Tigers now lead 6-2. Good piece of hitting by Joey Canterbury.
Joey Canterbury, the nickname Broadway Joe, he does it there. He gets the job done, brings in Andrew Farley. We could have had a play at the plate if the shortstop Jordan didn't bobble the ball, but Farley was on his horse, and he got home, and Chapmanville extends that lead 6-2 over Point Pleasant. And Jacob Topping, who's another reliable hitter for the Chapmanville Tigers, can keep this inning going with only 1 out.
Topping 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the 4th inning and struck out and reached on a wild pitch. Back in the 1st inning, swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. Back to Canterbury's hit, that 2-run single. That is his 2nd hit of the afternoon. He's now 2 for 3 with a double and 2 runs driven in as Canterbury swings and hits a ball past the diving first baseman Killingsworth down into the right field corner. Canterbury rounding second. He'll head for third as Topping will round first and cruise in with a standing double for the Chapmanville Tigers. And now 2 more runners in scoring position. Braylon Moore with an opportunity to add to the lead and give himself a couple more insurance runs when he heads out to the mound. Back out to the mound in the top of the 6th inning.
And Moore, his last at bat, he laid down a beautiful sacrifice bunt that scored Topping, and he can do it. Or no, he laid down a bunt and hit the sacrifice bunt to move Topping over. He can lay down a bunt if he ever wanted to, and you know you got speed with Joey Canterbury at third, who can beat out the throw. But as that pitch for Moore is missed for 0-1, but Braylon Moore, he's also what they call a dark horse batter who can come from time to time and get the job done.
It was called strike at the letters. The 0-1 pitch fouled off. 0-2 the count. I say when Moore goes back out to the mound, if Chapmanville keeps getting base runners on, if Moore can reach base here, we are in the bottom of the 5th inning. We could be in a situation where Chapmanville could approach the 10-run mark and end this contest after 5 innings of up by 10. Moore swings and fouls that one off. Count remains 0 balls, 2 strikes.
Moore's just trying to chase on that one. He's just trying to make contact to try to bring home Canterbury from third. But right now, if you're just Moore, you just can't go be swinging on those pitches that look good from Marrero, but you just got to make contact and try to bring home Canterbury.
Pitch swung on, slow roller hit to third, and the third baseman's going to have trouble with it. He bobbles it. He's got no play, and throw comes back in, and it gets by, and a situation turns worse for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. Is coming in to score on the error will be Joey Canterbury, and Chapmanville now leads 7-2 as Moore made that hit that ball that Johnny Porter was able to knock down going to his knees, but he was unable to get up and make a throw over there. So give an infield single to Braylon Moore. On that play, the runner at second base, Jacob Topping, got off the bag, and Topping gets off the bag, and the third baseman, Porter, turns around, fires it back to second base, but throws it in the path of Topping. The ball goes off of Topping into right field, allowing Canterbury to score on the throwing error. So Chapmanville now adds to their lead 7-2, and they have runners at first and third with 1 out, and the number 9 batter in the lineup, Eli Surgoin, coming to the plate.
And you got a mound visit from Point Pleasant's coach. He's looking to talk to his infield to tell them to settle them in, regroup them, tell them that, hey, you only got 1 out. Don't bite on the double steal. Just be smart here. No pass balls, and just tell Marrero to settle in, find the strike zone, and get out Eli Surgoin, who is 0 for 2 today on a strikeout. 0 for 1. 0 for 1 with a strikeout, but he laid down a sacrifice bunt to score Jacob Topping. So he is 0 for 1 today, but we know Surgoin, a reliable senior second baseman, can get the job done for the Chapmanville Tigers.
Yeah, they've actually scored that an error, did the Chapmanville coaching staff, and that's a ball up the middle. Surgoin comes through with a base hit, and Chapmanville leads 8-2. And this inning continues as runners are now on first and second and the top of the lineup. And, you know, Daniel, we made mention to it. Chapmanville is approaching that 12th run. That would be the game-ending run. And, in fact, that 12th run, if Luke Knight is to reach, is potentially in the on-deck circle in Talon Thompson. Pitch on the way, swung on and missed by Knight. 0-1 to count. Luke Knight 1 for 1 with a double and a run scored. He has walked and stolen a base. And then back in the 4th inning, a sac fly to left field that scored Jacob Topping. 0-1 to count. Pitch on the way, swung on and missed. 0-2 the count to Topping.
Luke Knight Luke Knight is probably the best leadoff hitter in Southern West Virginia. He does that time where he can show down, he can lay down a bump, and then he can bring it back and put it right back up the middle if you're not careful.
Pitch swung on and missed by Knight, so 2 away. And Talon Thompson, the batter for the Tigers. Thompson is 1 for 3 with an RBI double in the 1st inning, struck out in the 2nd, and flew out to center back in the 4th inning.
And this is Chapmanville 9th batter to the plate in this inning for Chapmanville.
Yes, the Tigers have batted around in this inning. That was the first strikeout for Moreno. In this contest, Moreno came on in relief back in the 2nd inning of Tucker, the starting pitcher for Point Pleasant. And pitch on the way, swung on and hit fouled. 1-1 to count to Talon Thompson.
And Talon Thompson, he, like you said, even though now the potential game-winning run is Brody Dalton on the on-deck circle, and if Talon Thompson can reach a base, everyone knows that we're talking about the bats of Andrew Farley, but everyone forgets how Brody Dalton can also put one out of play, and he's just that talented of a batter. But Talon Thompson, who's in the 2-hole hitter as one of the most talented hitters and consistent hitters for Chapmanville, would love to get on base here.
Pitch inside, 2-1 to count, as notice in the stands a few umbrellas pop out as there is some rain off along the left field line, and we do see it off of the first base dugout, and it actually looks like it's raining over top of the first base dugout. It looks like it may be sun shining too as Thompson fouls that pitch off. 2-2 the count evens up.
That rain of sunshine. If people who aren't who doesn't know, it is sunny on the right side of Ted Ellis Field, but on the other side, it's also kind of mixture with clouds and blue skies. But rain is just a cloudburst, just open.
Yeah, that rain's disappearing down the left side now, as you can tell, as that pitch is in the dirt. 3-2, and for those that may be listening that may not be from West Virginia, let me welcome you to West Virginia weather, where let's just go ahead and say it. This weather can't make its mind up, where we can potentially have 4 seasons in one day. We can have winter in the morning, and it turned to fall, and then spring, and then summer by the time we hit the peak hours. So we get our fair share of mixture in weather. I'm still waiting for that snow on 4th of July with the unpredictability of this weather in the last few years. So pitch on the way, has swung on and fouled. Little swing by Thompson as the pitch rode in on his hands, and he was able to foul that one off.
Thompson was just lucky to foul that one off, as if he wouldn't have swung, it would have been ball 4 and bases loaded with the dangerous Brody Dalton. And we saw down at Man, Brody Dalton was walked twice, and when he wasn't, he put one in play.
Swing, and it's hit short in the hole. Shortstop makes a throw, and it's going to get Thompson in time. Good play by Zach Jordan to set his feet and make the throw, but the Tigers send 9 batters to the plate. In the bottom of the 5th inning, they plate 4 runs on 5 hits and leave 2 runners stranded. 5 innings in the books. It's Chapmanville 8, Point Pleasant 2. You're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament on video production. Welcome back to Ted Ellis Field. We move to the 6th inning. 8-2 Chapmanville leads in the final game of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament. And as quickly as them umbrellas came up, Daniel, they were right back down as, I don't even know if I would call that a brief shower.
It was just a brief cloud burst that just barely done anything. Didn't even make the field really that wet.
Carson Lambert, the batter for the Big Blacks, fouls a pitch off the screen behind home plate. 0-1 to count. Lambert 1 for 2. Single and a stolen base back in the 2nd inning and flew out to center field in the 3rd. Pitch on the way, swung on, hit into center field. Butcher's charging and will be able to make it. Catch on the run for the first out in the top of the 6th. And Zach Jordan, the batter. Jordan led off the game with a double over the right fielder's head, Lucas Price, and he came around to score on the RBI walk by Hunter Lilly. Since then, a fly out to right and a fly out to center. Jordan 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Ready for the first pitch from Moore. Here it comes, swing and a miss. Strike 1 to Zach Jordan.
Braylon Moore put some heat on that one, and Jordan about done a 360 spin on that swing. He swung really hard. See if Moore can get him to swing again.
Inside and in the dirt, 1-1 to count to Jordan. So now Jordan back in the box, ready for the 1-1. Here it comes, and nearly hits him, but he spins out of the way of it. The count runs to 2 balls, 1 strike. Moore ready, working quickly, pitch on the way, outside, 3-1. Daniel Moore might be working a little too quickly here, as I know he wants to work quick, but he's went from 0-1 to 3-1. 3-1 offering on the way, pitch, swung on, bounced to second, and it will get by Eli Surgoin, and Luke Jordan has his 2nd hit of the evening. Surgoin made an effort to get over there, but was unable to get to it in time before it scoots in the right field for a single, and Brylan Williamson, the batter.
And you have to look at Braylon Moore. He's at pitch 96, and maybe he's working fast because he wants to get these 3 outs fast and have the opportunity to close out in the top of the 7th for the Chapmanville Tigers.
Pitch swung on a miss by Williamson, 0-1 to count. Williamson is 0 for 2. He walked in the 1st inning, flew out to 1st, back in the 2nd, and struck out in the 4th. 0-1 out, pitch on the way from Moore to Williamson. And here it comes. Pitch swung on and fouled, and it's 0-2.
Just like that, 0-2 count, and pitch 98 was thrown, pitch 99 on the way. And if you're Braylon Moore, you'd love to get a strikeout here before you reach 100 pitches to try to keep your day still going for him on the mound.
Pitch is swung on and fouled at the plate, 0-2 the count. That's pitch number 99. I don't want to say that the complete game is not in the future for Braylon Moore here. At 99 pitches, he can only throw 11 more. If he can get out of this without having thrown 110 pitches, Chapmanville could score 4 runs. He can get a 6-inning complete game as that pitch is in the dirt, 1-2 the count. But even with a double play here, and pitch number 101 coming up, he would only have 9 pitches. It'd be hard to imagine Point Pleasant being behind 6 runs on the board, going up there and hacking at the first thing that they see, but they could. That pitch swung on, hit, fouled. Now it was pitch number 101. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And we do see someone warming up down in the bullpen. It looks like that's Corey Johnson warming up in the bullpen. So this might be it for Braylon Moore after this inning, as he's at pitch 101. This could be curtains call if he can get these last 2 outs for Chapmanville.
Pitch on the way is outside corner called strike 3. Strikeout number 5 for Braylon Moore, out number 2 in the Point Pleasant 6th inning. And Evan Roach, the batter, 0 for 3. Line out to the shortstop, a ground out to short, and reached on an error.
Evan Roach coming up to the plate. And another interesting thing about Evan Roach, his dad owns a great pizza place down in Point Pleasant, and I've had it after a Point Pleasant Logan Middle School game. It was delicious. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it was delicious.
0-1 to count to Roach. Pitch on the outside corner. Something's that good, you should know the name of it.
It was so long time ago. It was in 2018. I can't remember what I had to breakfast this morning.
That pitch inside, 1-1 to count. So we apologize to our listening audience that may be looking for a place to eat in Point Pleasant. My broadcast partner, Daniel Miller, does not know the name of the place, but it is good pizza, he says. Pitch on the way into dirt, kicks away from Dalton, and taking second will be Zach Jordan on the wild pitch.
It is good pizza, and I'm now determined to look it up right now as what his dad pizza place owned. But right now, Point Pleasant's got a runner in scoring position, and right now for Evan Roach, he'd love to just try to cut into this lead with 2 outs and try to make this an 8-3 ball game.
Pitch number 106 on the way from Moore to Roach. Here it comes, and swing and a miss on a ball, actually foul ball off the end of the bat. 2-2. Now the count. 2 outs. Deuce is wild. Runner at second base. 2 runs on the board for Point Pleasant.
And Point Pleasant, you'd have to think with Marrero coming up and after giving up 4 runs in the last inning, he may be done after today, or Point Pleasant may elect to go with him in the bottom of the top of the 7th.
3-2 now the count as Roach takes a pitch high. Takes a pitch upstairs, 3-2 the count. And pitch number 107, looks like Johnson is ready. He'll be the pitcher once more. Has exhausted the 110 pitch limit. Or we'll look to see if maybe they don't bring in Johnson. If Moore was to walk this batter, to allow Moore to pitch to the batter with runners on first and second, as opposed to, say, bases loaded if they can't get out of this. The pitch on the way, swung on and fouled. Pitch number 108. Now 2 more pitches for Braylon Moore. And since the first inning, Moore has really settled down and held Point Pleasant in check. He's held them to 1 run since they put up a run in the first inning. Pitch on the way is inside. Ball 4. Well, let's see what Chapmanville does, because Moore does have 1 pitch left. And it looks like with Hunter Lilly coming to the plate, Chapmanville's going to elect to stay with Moore.
I mean, yeah, with 109 pitches, I would stay with Moore just to let him finish it out, as that pitcher from Chapmanville is warmed up and ready to go. But how you would love to end this in your time on the mound for Braylon Moore with a strikeout to Hunter Lilly.
The pitch on the way is swung on, hit in the center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Butcher gets over, cuts it off. Throw coming into the plate. It's going to be cut off by the first baseman. And on the final pitch that Braylon Moore throws, he will issue an RBI single off the bat of Hunter Lilly. And Point Pleasant closes the gap to 8-3. And we will get a pitching change here. Scoring from second base was Zach Jordan. And coming in to pitch, as Daniel mentioned, was the aforementioned Corey Johnson, who we saw throw Tuesday night against the Man Hillbillies. We'll step aside right now and we'll sort everything out, and we'll come back. We'll have this final batter of this inning, perhaps, for Point Pleasant. So pitching change here in Chapmanville. 2 outs on top of the 6th inning. Tigers lead the Big Blacks 8-3. You're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament on Video Productions. Corey Johnson takes over on the mound for the Chapmanville Tigers with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. And first pitch strike to Johnny Porter, the third baseman for Point Pleasant. Porter 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored back in the 3rd inning. He's also flew out to second and struck out. 0-1 to count, 2 outs, pitch on the way, swung on a miss, strike 2, and I don't know what Brody Dalton was doing as he got the strike, come in and fired back to second base. Nobody was covering second, and the ball will go into left field, and on the throwing error, Evan Roach will come all the way around from second base to score. Now Point Pleasant trails 8-4, Daniel.
They cut the lead in half, and right now, Point Pleasant love to keep this inning going. Porter can do it. He's got a single back in the 3rd inning, and if he can get another one, he will drive home that run from second base, as that's a courtesy runner for Lily, I presume.
Pitch is upstairs for a ball, 1-2 the count, and the pitch swung on and missed by Johnson, swung on and missed by Porter, Johnny Porter that is, and that's the first strikeout for Corey Johnson to retire the side in the top half of the 6th inning. But Point Pleasant does some damage. They get 2 runs on 2 hits. There was 1 Chapmanville error, 1 runner left on base. 5.5 innings complete. It is Chapmanville 8 and Point Pleasant 4. You're watching the DAFFER Memorial Tournament on Video Productions. Move to the bottom of the sixth inning from Chapmanville, West Virginia, Ted Ellis Field. Game number 4 of the 2023 DAFFER Memorial Tournament. And Chapmanville ahead of Point Pleasant, 8-4. Bill Lusk alongside Daniel Miller, our video productions producer, Sydney Mayo, on the computer controls, doing a fantastic job. And up on the press box on a non-windy day is Robbie Mounts. And he's actually caught a break in the weather because before this game started, it was windy, it was rainy. Looked like we might get a little bit of rain, might be a little cool. But since the game has started, he's caught a break in the weather as Dalton swings and hits the ball to first base. Good job by the pitcher, Moreno, to get over there and cover and take the throw from the first baseman, Killingsworth. 3-1 on the putout, 1 away.
The only thing that Robbie had to worry about is that cloud burst that came out of nowhere, and luckily the camera was covered and everything's okay. But but ground out from Brody Dalton and good run by Marrero to get over to first. As now Trey Butcher is coming up to the plate, and Trey Butcher got a single back in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, Butcher is 2 for 3, single and a run scored in the 5th, single in the 3rd, and grounded into a double play. 1-0 the count to Trey Butcher as he takes a pitch for a ball. Butcher awaits the 1-0 offering pitch on the way. Swung on, hit down the left field line, and pushing out of play. 1-1 the count.
And Butcher has that power to put one over an outfielder's head and score a run as reminiscence to what happened at Logan. He got intentionally walked to Andrew Farley, and Farley made him pay. Logan was aware of how dangerous bat Trey Butcher has.
Pitch outside, 2-1 the count. Now the Butcher, who's looking to get aboard for the 3rd time this afternoon, as actually Daniel afternoon is starting to turn into evening as we're approaching the 7:30 hour here in Chapmanville, West Virginia. As that pitch is in the dirt, 3-1 to count.
3-1 the count to Trey Butcher. And with one out, Chapmanville would love to have a runner on with Andrew Farley coming up to the plate. And if I'm Point Pleasant, I wouldn't be afraid to walk Andrew Farley.
Pitch swung on him, fouled behind the plate. 3-2, the count runs full. As Chapmanville leads 8-4 and looking ahead to the Point Pleasant 7th inning. Casey Killingsworth, Gavin Barnett, Carson Finicum, 6, 7, 8 for Point Pleasant. That pitch is inside for a ball, and Butcher does reach base for the 3rd time, drawing the first walk this evening for Butcher, and that's the first walk for Moreno in relief. So my presumptions were right on Moreno. 1 walk thus far through 4 1/3 innings pitched, or correction, 3 1/3 innings pitched for Moreno. He came on in relief in the 3rd inning. That pitch is taken for a ball by Andrew Farley, the ever dangerous Andrew Farley at the plate. Pitch on the way, swung on and fouled into the mitt. Throw down, nothing doing at first base as Butcher's able to get back safely.
And mention Andrew Farley, his walk-up song is also Rihanna, and it has in the first lyrics of the song, feel it coming in the air. And you know when Andrew Farley's at the plate, he can feel a home run coming every time he steps into that batter's box. And that's one thing if you're Murrow, you don't want to give Andrew Farley a home run.
Pitch swung on, fouled out of play. The count runs to 1-2 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 8-4 Chapmanville leading. Farley, as Daniel mentioned, he has the ability to add 2 runs to that 4-run lead with 1 swing of the bat if he's able to produce here. Pitch outside, and that's a called strike 3, and out number 2. What a placement by Moreno on that pitch. Put it to where Farley couldn't hit it.
And to the dismay of Point Pleasant fans, they were not happy where that ball was placed. They thought it was low and outside away for ball, but no, umpire says it's in there, strike 3, and that's Farley's first strikeout in this contest, and I have to believe that's his first strikeout in a long time.
And while that pitch is taken for a strike as Canterbury shows bunt, pulls back, and stealing second on the play is Trey Butcher, so 0-1 to count. To count to Canterbury, who had a 2-run single back in the 5th inning. He's also flew out to 2nd and 3rd and had a double in the 1st. 0-1 on the way. Canterbury takes in the dirt, 1-1 to count.
Takes that into the dirt, and just that and Joey Canterbury, his last at bat, he got a 2 RBI single, and you know he could put one right past the 3rd baseman again, like what he did in the last inning, and add on to that lead for Chapmanville.
Pitch is inside, 2-1 now the count to Canterbury. That pitch was close to hitting him, but Canterbury is able to get out of the way of the pitch, and now steps back in the box and awaits the 2-1 from Moreno. Pitch on the way is swung on and hit foul. Count now even at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Canterbury, we also have to mention he's one of those reliable pitchers that they have at in this pitching staff, but he's been coming on lately with his bat, and that's why he's in the lineup. And you just got to think, if he's continue this rate, he can potentially grow and get better hitting and make anyone pay every time they see him.
Pitch now runs full, 3-2, as you hear some Point Pleasant fans with a little bit of displeasure for that call, as the pitch just missed outside. 3-2 count on the way, and it's upstairs, ball 4, and that is the 2nd walk of the inning, 2nd walk of the game, issued by Moreno.
And I think that was some Chapmanville fans that were dismayed, because I think they were still arguing back what happened with Andrew Farley when he got called on a strikeout, and it looked like the same position that he had. And they just weren't happy about it. But now Jacob Topping steps to the plate, and his last 2 battings, he actually came around and scored for Chapmanville, and he'd love to continue that here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, Topping's had 2 hits and 3 plate appearances. He struck out and reached on a wild pitch in the 1st, singled and scored in the 4th. doubled and scored back in the fifth. If he gets a hit here, he can produce a run. That pitch swung on, popped up into the outfield. That ball's carrying, but the left fielder started back shy of the track, then comes running in as Carson Lambert makes the catch for the third out of the 6th inning to retire the Tigers in the bottom of the 6th. They leave 2 runners, score no runs. 7th inning coming up here from Chapmanville, West Virginia. Point Pleasant trails Chapmanville 8-4. This is the 2023 DAFFER Memorial Tournament on video production. Top of the 7th from Ted Ellis Field, Chapmanville, West Virginia. Chapmanville looking to close out Point Pleasant as they lead 8-4. Tigers looking for their 13th straight win. And Point Pleasant will send Casey Killingsworth to the plate. Killingsworth swings and sends a pitch down the left field line, and it'll just be out of the reach of the left fielder, Joey Canterbury, who made a diving attempt at it, but no avail to there as Killingsworth will cruise into second base with a leadoff double off of Corey Johnson.
Casey Killingsworth, just good shot over there. Good track by Joey Canterbury. Just couldn't get the glove into it. Time took a tumble, threw it back in. And now with a runner in scoring position with no outs, Gavin Barnett, who had a monster double his last at bat. And we're going to get a pinch runner.
It's going to be a pinch runner. Killingsworth is the first baseman. He can be ran for or substituted for one time and be allowed to re-enter the contest. After he's been subbed for once, he will have to exit the contest. As I'm not for sure about the runner, didn't see the number.
Yeah, I couldn't get a good look at that number too.
We'll get to it here.
I want to say that might be number 10.
Hayden Bentz has been a courtesy runner in this game, and that pitch is in the dirt to Bennett. For ball, 1-0 the count. Bennett is 1 for 2. He flew out in the first. He walked in the third and doubled back in the 5th inning. 1-0 on the way is in the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes to Gavin Bennett, the right fielder for the Point Pleasant Big Blacks. And Johnson just don't need to worry about the runner at second base. It don't hurt as that pitch is in there for a called strike. 2-1 to count. You don't need to worry about him at second. That's just run number 5. That run don't hurt you. You need to keep your eye on the batter and not fall behind here in the count even more as that pitch swung on him. It's 2-2 the count. And Johnson 1 strike away from recording his second strikeout.
And we do get confirmation that runner at second is number 10.
That is Hayden Bentz as the pitch is in the dirt for a ball. Bentz was a courtesy runner for the catcher, Lilly, back in the sixth inning, actually in the first inning as well. Bentz ran for Lilly. So 3-2 pitch on the way, swung on, bounced to third. That will be Knight. He bobbles, fields, knocks it down. He's not going to have a play. All runners are going to be safe. And Point Pleasant has the first 2 aboard here in the top of the 7th inning. And Carson Finicum, who has an RBI single, that was back in the 3rd inning, steps to the plate.
And with Point Pleasant with no outs, 2 runners on, the tying run is on deck. For Point Pleasant, they want to keep this inning going with no outs. And Finicum can be one of the guys that can do it for the Big Blacks by getting a RBI hit.
Strike 1 at the knees to Finnegan. 0-1 to count. Pitch on the way. Swung on, popped up into center field, or actually in the left field. Canterbury calls Butcher off and makes the catch for the first out of the top of the 7th inning. 1 away, and the batter, Carson Lambert, who is 1 for 3. He singled in the 2nd and flew out to center back in the 3rd in the 6th inning.
And Lambert has that power. When he got that single, he can put it right past the any baseman for Point Pleasant. And with only 1 out now, Corey Johnson has to feel just a little bit comfortable now with that first out on the board.
Pitch in the dirt, ball 1 to Lambert. Right now, the pitchers of record are the starting pitchers, or the pitchers of record, I should say, in this contest, as the 1-1 on the way swung on and bounced tonight. He'll take it, race to the bag to get the runner. That's the lead runner in Bence. So 2 away, and Point Pleasant down to their final out, following the fielder's choice.
And that brings up the top of the lineup, Zach Jordan, who is 2 for 3 today with a single and a double, and he flew out to center fielder in the 4th inning. And Zach Jordan has the power as a leadoff hitter that can get base hits and try to keep this inning and rally going for Point Pleasant.
2 outs, last hope for Point Pleasant is Zach Jordan. Jordan swings and sends a hit into center field. Butcher gets over, cuts it off. Coming around second to score will be the right fielder, Gavin Barnett. And moving up to third is Lambert. Good piece of situational hitting there by the Big Blacks of Point Pleasant, as they now have runners at first and third following the RBI single by Zach Jordan. That brings in Gavin Barnett.
Gavin Barnett comes in. Brylan Williamson. We messed up his name in the beginning of the broadcast, but Brylan Williamson is coming up, and we get a quick mound visit from Chapmanville coach to try to settle down Corey Johnson, as Bill don't want to bring up the worst for Corey Johnson, but Corey Johnson had a position like this with a lead, and back at Roger E. Gertz Field with Robert C. Byrd, Chapmanville had a 6-0 lead, and Corey Johnson just didn't have his best stuff that day and gave up 6 runs to Robert C. Byrd, and then Robert C. Byrd finished off Chapmanville in the 7th inning to go on to hand Chapmanville their first loss of the season. But Corey Johnson wants to put that in the back of his head. He knows that he can't get into that situation now. And Brylan Williamson, who is hitless today, he could come alive with a base hit here, and if he does, it could put just a little bit more pressure on Corey Johnson, with Evan Roach, who has a power in his bat, can potentially give Point Pleasant the lead.
Williamson fouls a pitch off, 0-1 to count. Williamson represents the tying run for the Big Blacks of Point Pleasant. They trail 8-5 on the scoreboard. Williamson 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts and a fly out to first base, and he also has a walk. 0-1 from Johnson to Williamson on the way, and swung on a miss, strike 2. Point Pleasant down to their final strike. Has a little bit of action down in the Chapmanville pen. Can't quite make out who's throwing down there. It is a left-hander. He's got a warm-up. He's got a Chapmanville Tiger warm-up jacket on down there, so we don't know who it is. Could be Topping. That pitch swung on and hit in the right field. The right fielder, Price, is there for the catch. And 13 is lucky for the Chapmanville Tigers. 13 consecutive wins with an 8-5 win over the Big Blacks of Point Pleasant High School, as the Chapmanville Tigers improve to 18-2 on the season and pick up a win in the final game of the DAFFER Memorial Tournament for 2023. Chapmanville wins it 8-5, and we'd like to thank everybody for watching on Video Productions, as this is going to conclude our broadcast. I hope you can tune in for the next Chapmanville Tiger home game, which will be Wednesday night here from Ted Ellis Field against the 2-time defending Class AA state champion and county rival Logan Wildcats. For Daniel Miller, for our producer Sydney Mayo, and our camera guy, Robbie Mounts, I'm Bill Lusk saying so long and thank you for watching the 2023 DAFFER Memorial Tournament.